This video is made for adult collectors because Hasbro's using this to swindle money out of your pocket. I don't know. I was trying to come up with something funny, but that was like the best I could come up with. I'm not a comedian. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. He's finished. And this one's here. Yay. Swindle died. It's finally over. I have every member of Bruticus. And of all the combiners they've done in the modern day, I think this one has been the most fun to collect. This was purchased at Heroes World. Here's the box, not sponsored. And here we have Swindle. He's very yellow. The yellow in person is not as neon as those initial reveal photos, but it is still on the bright side, and it means he stands out a lot among the rest. But that aside, he's a lot of fun and packing so much inside. The plastic is super dense, feeling a lot like Brawl because he's the size of a deluxe but heavier and way more involved. I really dig this shade of purple, with it being in the joints too to help break up that sea of yellow in the upper body. The black though is an extremely deep black, and I kind of wish it was a touch or two lighter. It makes the yellow feel extra bright when next to it, making the figure stand out more amongst the other more muted military guys on the team. And a shuttle in the military team. His feet are practically non-existent. He stands fine and I have no issues with the stability, but visually the legs just kind of end in stumps and it's a tad bit weird. The panels on those arms too, they don't fold away because of how they work in both the alt mode and the combine mode, and it looks like he's got serving trays mounted on each arm. And then the back is a bit empty, but I don't really care about that, and I think everything else about this figure visually is fine. With the Jeep crotch grill thing and the folded down windshield, I am so curious how they'll do a Ruination set out of this guy because Swindle's chest is completely different on that, and given how this transforms, I don't know how they'd be able to spin that around. Like I mentioned before, he's about the size of a deluxe, but dense, but that's not the only thing that eats that Voyager budget. He comes with a lot of stuff. You get a pistol, an arm cannon, a dingus, and an entire trailer. The arm cannon can plug into the shoulder and you can hold the other gun. The dingus pegs into the leg and just kind of never comes off because it doesn't have to. It's an alt mode attachment point. I just don't know why they pack it separately. And then the trailer can unfold in a pretty satisfying way and then pegs into the shoulder to be that. Interesting function that I won't ever use, but I'm happy there is some sort of integration. I really like the head sculpt. It's a wee bit on the small side because of how it becomes part of the alt mode, but it still looks good with those metallic purple eyes and that gunmetal mouth area. His articulation is no slouch. Head is on a ball joint. You can get some rotation and a bit of tilt. There's also a lot of room in the back of the neck, so your head can go up quite far. The shoulders are universal, so they go all the way around and in and out. And because of the transformation, he has butterfly joints, which is nice. There is a bicep rotation, double jointed elbows, and nothing at the wrist because of all the junk hanging around it. He has a waist joint. The hips can go forward. They can go back a little bit because of the seats, and then they go in and out. Thigh swivels, 90-degree bends at the knee, and crazy ankle tilt. So he has your standard articulation assortment. The wrist swivels is a bit not being there, but the butterfly joints are a nice touch. Now, his transformation is surprisingly complex. I wasn't expecting the legs to be as involved as they are, or how the head forms the grill. Yeah, I'll show you that. The instructions kind of suck though in showing the order of operations when how to get things into combine mode and to like rotate the arms for truck mode. There are actually bits in combine mode that clip into the model, but like, you know, we'll talk about that in more like when I do Bruticus. I think Onslaught is my favorite to transform still out of the bunch, but this is a close second. So one thing I forgot to mention was, you know how you can plug this into both sides of this shoulder, right? But you can't plug it into the front of here. You can plug it into the side of this shoulder if you want the cannon to be on that side. They did give you that option, which I think is cool. It would have been fun if you could plug it into the front too, but whatever. Most people are just gonna put it in. Actually, most people are gonna have this guy in foot mode anyways, it doesn't matter. But he is quite involved for being something this small. Like I wasn't expecting it, and it just kind of blew me away at first. Not to mention the instructions sucked, so it took a little bit to figure out, but it was nice to just like not have to use them and figure it out myself. Oh look, even the instructions have the cannon on this side because they put this on that side. That's neat. But enough yapping, let's get him into alt mode. So the gun stores here, and you have to take that off for transformation, but you leave the dingus on. You don't have to take that off at all. So the first thing we're gonna do is the upper torso. This doesn't lock in very well, so we're gonna rotate it now and get it out of the way. Then you rotate the head 180 degrees, and then comes the order of operations that the instructions do very weird, the arms. So you take the arms, you bring them out, and you rotate them like this. Then you wanna flip them around this way. Then you wanna bring the elbows in and peg the forearms into place here, and then rotate this out all the way. The instructions have you do it in some weird order that it just kinda works better if you do it this way, at least from what I've seen. So you get all this, pegged in, fold this around. Then you want to bring it in at the shoulders again, and it's going to peg into the side of the heads while also heads, there's only one, head while pegging into the front grill here. And once you do that, you take these grill pieces and fold them up, and they're going to latch into the front as well as together. So you get them together, you get them pegged in at the front like that. Then you fold up the windshield, and that's the front of the, oops, it's come unpegged. That's the front of the legally distinct Jeep done. Then you're gonna rotate the waist and you're gonna fold these butt flaps forward. Now we're gonna do the cool part, the feet. So you wanna take these shins and you wanna bring them down. Then you wanna fold the feet back, and then you bring the shins out on either side. Then you take this entire assembly and rotate it around, and then you want to push them together, and they will peg together at the back here and in the middle, and then these pieces will come down and peg into place on the side, but the seats do get in the way. So you fold the seats down, not all the way. Not all the way. I folded that one too far. No, I folded it too far. I can't get my fingernail in there. Ah! Oh, for fuck's sake. G1 Megatron sword coming to the rescue. So you want to fold the seats back, and while you're doing that, you then take these bits and bring them down. They're going to clip right there, and then you bring these in and peg them together like that. Get everything nice and squeezed into place. Then you take the guns. You want to bring these two bits together like that. Then you want to bring this and peg that in at the top, and that's the Jeep. Well, actually, hang on. Then you want to fold out the trailer hitch. And now that's the Jeep done. The trailer itself, you unfold this section here and you bring it all the way around. Then you fold this piece up and just accordion everything together, fold that down, plug that in, and there he is. The legs are very cool in how they work. You don't really have to do the whole seat thing that I did to get it stuck, but it kind of like helps because they sort of sit properly in that gap. But it is such a nice thing to transform. I love it. It's a legally distinct Jeep, but it looks great. I love the purple hood and the sculpting all around. There is a lot of nice new molded detail on display on the side and on the back, like the taillights that aren't painted. I also really like the gunmetal rims. That's the color I wish the thighs were in robot mode. The dingus becomes a cannon peg. Again, I don't know why it's packed separately, but the cannon can rotate and go up and down a tiny bit. And he's got that fold-out trailer hitch that can attach the combined mode gun as a little trailer, and I kind of like that. I think that's neat. The front hood, I do wish locked in. There isn't anything that I can see that keeps this in place, so it rotates a little bit if you handle it from the front. I do really like how he has actual seats. That's pretty sick. And how they painted both sides of the windshields that gave him wipers. The head doesn't really stand out at the front, which is great. I think it's a pretty clever use of like parts and how that becomes the bumper section. He is very solid, everything pegs together. Oh, I just noticed that the stamp is just in your face here. And yes, I said I was gonna do Bruticus in his own video, but I can't not show this off. Especially with Shockwave on there too. Yeah, that looks so nice. It's definitely my favorite combiner out of the frame combiners they've made. Obviously, I'd recommend Swindle if you want to complete Bruticus, but I also know Swindle just has a good enough following all to himself that even if you aren't completing Bruticus, this is a pretty good Swindle to just have by itself. But that's my look at Age of the Prime Swindle. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I forgot to take the thumbnail photo, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.